And today we're going to talk about two beers that I made. And so let's give them a pour and then we're going to see what we're going to think of them. Let's go pour this one. This is going to be the Banks Mild Ale, the all-grain Banks Mild Ale that I made from the Hurricane Alex rainwater. And you can go back a few vids and see where I collected the Hurricane Alex rainwater when Hurricane Alex blew through here. And then you can see another video where I made a homemade filter and filtered the Hurricane Alex rainwater. And then a couple of vids off of that you can see where I actually made the Hurricane Alex rainwater beer, which was Banks Mild Ale. You see, you can read through it. I didn't use any clarifiers at all. To get my beers to turn out crystal clear, the first thing I did was get the fermentation temperature under control. You can go back and see in my videos where I made a temperature controller in my little fermentation chamber. Secondly, my friend PT, and his screen name in YouTube is YARTP, told me to, if I wanted super clear beers, just leave them in the fermenter, either primary or secondary, but just leave them in there until they fall clear. Just leave them until they fall clear. And if you see my other videos, you'll know I chose this one because first it sounded interesting. This was the brew of choice for in England pubs. The recipe was arrived at because factory workers, they wanted factory workers to have a beer to drink during their lunch hour and not come back to work tipsy. So the Banks Mild Ale was to fill that bill, and it was the beer of choice, the go-to beer up until the end of World War II, when folks wanted to start drinking heavier alcohol beers. Also, I did not do a taste testing on my Midwest Supplies Autumn Amber Ale. It kind of had some company and it disappeared. It was very good. The coloration and what it looked like was very similar to this. It did have a little more head that stuck around, but here we go. It's not sweet, and it's, have you ever went out and got wild honey? I used to do that with my dad. We'd go out and rob bee trees on our property. Long time ago, they can't get us now. And wild honeycomb has a distinctive fragrance, and that's what this smells like to me. It just tastes like honey water. It tastes like honey. It is not sweet. It's very crisp and tart. And then the hop bitterness, it's not a lot of behind the throat hop bitterness, it's tongue hop bitterness. It's not bad. But I just, I was disappointed in this, I guess, because I've been making so many amber ales. I thought this was going to taste similar to an amber ale. And I like sweet malty beers with florally nice hops, but so you say, well, why did you choose a beer that just has bittering hops? I know. Well, I did. So that's the Banks Mild Ale, and I probably won't make this one again. It was a nice experiment, and it was great to use Hurricane Alex rainwater. I got a kick out of that. I thought that was a novel idea. Oh, and I have a surprise. We got a new refrigerator. So guess what? I inherited the old one to put my beer junk in. Well, let's go get our next beer. Aren't you wondering what it is? Aren't you? Let's go get it. And it is cloudy, the way a wheat beer should be. It's got a beautiful, beautiful color, like the rising sun. So yeah, this is the Cooper's wheat beer. Thomas Cooper's Thomas Cooper Selection Wheat Beer. And this is the second and final experimentation series. I wanted to know if the other coopers that I made back during, back several months ago, that they turned out bad. I wanted to do a final testing on whether it was because my brew shop was getting cooper's kits that were shipped or stored too hot, which will make them go bad sooner than their expiration date, or if it was because at the time I was not controlling my fermentation temperatures. And I'm going to keep harping on this fermentation temperature thing because especially for us living where it gets really hot, you've got to be able to find out what temperature the yeast wants to be fermented at, and then keep and maintain those fermenters at that temperature. This one I locked in at 66 degrees Fahrenheit and kept it there in my fermentation chamber. So it looks like a wheat beer. Let's have a smell. Oh, but I should tell you, the recipe calls for this to be made with 500 grams of dry malt extract and 300 grams of corn sugar. But I don't do the sugars in beers as the norm. I went ahead and used 800 grams of wheat dry malt extract, which is 65% wheat and 35% barley. So it's got 800 grams of wheat dry malt extract in it and 6 gallons of water, 23 liters of water, 5 imperial gallons of water. Jeez, all this gallon stuff. Okay, let's smell it. Yes, for fragrance on this, what it smells like to me is if you poured a light macro brew, like a Miller, or yeah, like a Miller. I'm familiar with Miller. And smelled it, and you just smell sort of a beery, fresh smell. That's what this smells like. Yeah, just clean, fresh, beery smell. Taste. Since I didn't put anything else in this, I just made it straight. The taste is just a very clean wheat beer. I like an American style wheat beer with nothing added into it, just clean. I know that Cooper's uses Pride of Ringwood hops in their beers, and I don't like Pride of Ringwood hops because it tastes like quinine to me. And I can taste a little bit of that in here. It doesn't seem to have any aroma hops or taste hops. And it just seems to have a little Pride of Ringwood in it for bittering, but not enough to put me off of it. This is actually a nice clean little beer. But the next time I do this one, I'm going to do it with a Y yeast 3638. The profile of that yeast says that it's a Bavarian wheat yeast, and it's going to have banana bubblegum taste, and the esters will be lychee, apple plum, and clove. So yeah, this is just a very, very clean palate, clean slate. Paint on this wheat beer what you want to. You know, put fruit in it, or I'm just going to do a yeast in it that's got some banana-y clove things. I like that, like a Blue Moon Honeymoon, Blue Moon wheat beer. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Original Blue Moon. If you make it and you like it, that's a success, yeah? Cheers, ladies and gents. Till next time.